Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cher and today we are going to be reviewing the album The Nylon Curtain by Billy Joel. Now as you can tell, like I said in the last video, we are in the midst of moving and this might not be the final setup, but we are kind of still setting up the new apartment. So this is the setup as it is now, but nothing too new in the background, record and record player. Before we get into things, like I said before, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It does mean a whole lot for those numbers. It does mean a lot for us here at the team. As always, each album is graded in 3 categories: the context behind the creation of the album, the songs on the album itself, and finally the album cover. Now, a little side note before we get into anything, the last video, Glass Houses, was once again blocked in the country of Russia. And it is super exciting to get into that heated rivalry in a few episodes because once again, Billy Joel and Russia do not have a fun relationship. Anyways, we find a very successful Billy Joel hopping off another #1 album again with the aforementioned Glass Houses, and there really wasn't anything Billy Joel hasn't done at this point. So instead of chasing awards and acclaim, because he pretty much already had that, Joel dug deeper into the studio, wanting to make his next album a musical soundscape, taking very heavy inspiration from his idols, the Beatles, and their intense craftsmanship behind the producer board. So Joel gets even closer with famous producer Phil Ramone and goes through a small change, losing the long-term saxophonist Richie Cannata that has been on the last few albums of the band. Alas, the creation process continues as Joel goes deep into the storytelling on these tracks, and we will get more into that in the next section, but I will say that Joel really has a major theme for this next album. Billy is quoted saying that this album is about the American dilemma, specifically of people born after World War II, emphasizing that the Reagan era maybe isn't as good as it seems. The Nylon Curtain was released on September 23rd, 1982 and reached only #7 on the Billboard 200 charts. This is the first time Billy Joel's album didn't go #1 since 1977, so a half-decade of dominance. However, Billy Joel was still very successful, nominated once again for Album of the Year with this one, but also once again did not win. This busy burn and churn of creating albums really started to catch up with Joel in his musical life and his personal life, with this album had probably the least sales in the recent memory for him, and by the fall of 1982, his current wife Elizabeth Weber and him filed for divorce. This album to me shows a building of climaxes for Joel, so much pressure of making an album practically almost every year, if not every other year. And this intense focus and change in music for Joel also shows that he's more than just a plastic pop jukebox man. Because of that, I'm actually going to give this album a 4 out of 5 in context. I actually learned a lot about this while reading about this album, and I understood why it was such a big move for him, even though it's not more of his well-known albums. But how about the tracks on the album? Well, it kicks off with Allentown, a story about the real city of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, a city that is struggling to provide economic prosperity for the people in the early 80s during its recession. Or it follows this up about a darkly twisted tale about a person who always knows how to put you down and make you feel bad and feel guilty. Not surprising that maybe the divorce had a little bit of effects on the storytelling and songs on this album. Pressure is a frantic and fast-paced song about people just not knowing how to deal with this crazy world around them and trying to grow up in an insane society. And then side 1 ends with Goodnight Saigon, a Vietnam War story, however told from the perspective of the soldiers themselves. She's Right on Time is about a relationship reunion during the Christmas season. A Room of Our Own immediately flips the switch and does the exact opposite about a fast-paced rock song about 2 people who just desperately need space from one another. Surprises ends this trilogy of love songs on side 2 of the inevitable split of the couple. Scandinavian Skies is a huge, heavily influenced Beatles track taking the string parts from Strawberry Fields Forever and I'm the Walrus about a plane ride from hell that Joel experienced. And then the album ends with Where's the Orchestra, a song about seeing that life maybe isn't as grand as you would believe or think it should be. I will say I really only like 3 songs on this album, and one of them was just added on this most previous listen, being Laura. Allentown is not really catchy to me, though the lyrics are very entertaining and deep. I can say that about a lot of songs on this album. Similarly, Scandinavian Skies and Goodnight Saigon, though like I said, very heavy storytelling, just just aren't entertaining to me, at least. I don't really enjoy Joel chasing to be the Beatles rather than just being himself. I also like the songs Pressure and Where's the Orchestra, but that's about it for some of my favorite tracks. I feel like She's Right on Time and Rooms of Our Own are just too plain and simple for me, and Surprises is absolutely falls flat for me. It makes me feel like I'm in the divorce of Billy Joel. So with only 3 of the 9 songs that I enjoy, that gives the song category a score of 1.67 out of 5. Finally, we have the album cover, and I just have to say, to be totally frank, I do not care for this at all. I get that it's going for this imagery of the American dilemma, but it is so not engaging or entertaining like the other Billy Joel albums. There's so many other ways to bring up the problem with American society and have a great iconic image, and this is not one of them. Even the back just shows a tired and rudimentary Joel just going through the motions, and this really looks like adult contemporary in the worst way possible. I'm giving this section a 1 out of 5 for the album cover. This gives the Nylon Curtain a final score of a 6.67 out of 15. I'm not truly surprised by this score at all. If you saw the video where me and Claire ranked all the Billy Joel albums, this is towards the bottom of my ranking. I am surprised it is ranked higher than Street Life Serenade, but I think really the context behind this album is the biggest carrier for this album. I think it's very entertaining to know the background of this, but in result, yeah, it isn't one of his highlighted or mainstream albums because the songs aren't really as, you know, mainstream pop catchy like his other albums do. I liked actually learning more about Joel in this album, so I do give it credit for that, but overall in the rankings of all the Billy Joel albums we've looked at so far, it is on the bottom half of that. It also nestles itself between other albums in our series like People by Barbra Streisand and High Voltage by AC/DC. We'll tune into the next episode as we look into the fallout of Joel's divorce with the follow-up album An Innocent Man in our next episode. But as always, like I say, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to tune into that next episode, and I hope to see you all then.